Lego reselling is the easiest way to start making money with Lego. We are now fully in the swing of Q4 and Christmas is just around the corner. So this is of course the best year to start being a reseller. So in this video, I'm going to be going through the best ways to get started with Lego reselling, and this will work with any budget you have. So if you've ever watched any of my Lego reselling or investing videos before, you've probably heard me talk about minifigures. Now, I am going to repeat myself again because this is so important, and I believe this is the best way for anyone, especially those with a lower budget, to get in with Lego reselling. So if you want to have very low risk with still a really good high return, then licensed minifigures are the best way to start making money with Lego. And now is probably better than it's ever been before, with the new Marvel Series 2 minifigures being released in the cardboard boxes rather than in the blind bag, so the days of feeling out your favourite minifigure are gone. Now, as a reseller, this is fantastic news because that means if you want your favourite figure, then people are going to have to go online to buy it or risk buying multiple boxes and getting the same figure over and over again. And to be honest, I actually had this with the latest Marvel Series 2. I wanted to collect it all. And I bought random figures, and I think I have 3 figures that I've got at least twice, and one of them I've actually had 3 times. So in the end, I actually gave up and I went online and I spent, I think, £8 or £9 on a single Moon Knight minifigure. And I don't think I've ever done this before. I think the only time I've bought a specific minifigure online has been after the set has already retired and I've missed one. I know I'd done this with the Harry Potter Series 2 where I had to buy Ron online. Now, all you need to do to start doing this is literally go to your local store, buy as many as the Marvel minifigures as you want to risk or you can afford to have that money sat on for a little while. And then all you need to do is very carefully open up the box, identify the figure inside, glue it shut again, and then you can list it on eBay or Amazon or anywhere else you'd like to sell it for. And you can sell it for up to 4 times the price. Now, if you go on Amazon, then I've seen these selling for up to 5 or 6 times the price recently. I think the last time I looked on Amazon, the Moon Knight minifigure was selling for $17.99 for one single figure. Now, personally, I would actually stay clear of this as much as you'd be able to make a great amount of money. Some people probably will think that you'll be able to get more than one figure for £18, and you'll probably get quite a lot of refunds selling at a price that high. And I know this because I've done this before. I used to sell the Marvel Series 1 minifigure blind bags, and they were getting up to like $12.99 on Amazon that I was selling them for, but I was getting so many refunds that I actually had to lower the price to make more profit, because it actually meant that I was getting a lot less refunds because people thought that for $12.99 they were getting a whole set of figures. So for me personally, I would probably stick to eBay and Bricklink for reselling individual figures, but Amazon does still work. Just have to bear in mind that sometimes the prices are maybe a little too good to be true and customers don't really understand what they're buying. And of course, Amazon's customer service is really good and they always put the customer first, so the customer's always going to get their refund if they want it. So now, as I mentioned at the start of the video, Christmas is just around the corner, and this is another fantastic way to make money as a Lego reseller. And not just because of the high sales volume of overall Lego at this time of year, but actually more so because of the seasonal sets that are around. So if we take probably one of the best examples currently is that you can buy the Lego Star Wars Advent Calendar on Amazon for £21.50. Now, of course, the retail price for this is £30, so you're getting £8.50 off. Now, for me, I would actually say the best place to sell this is going to be something like Facebook Marketplace or any of those like local selling sites where people will come up and they'll buy it in cash. You don't have to worry about postage because obviously these are quite big bulky advent calendars, so the postage isn't cheap, and also the best time to sell them is right at the end of the month, and if you start posting them then it might take up to a week to get to the customer and they won't actually want it. So I think that for the advent calendars, the best place to do it is on local classified ads where people will come and pick up from you. So you can buy these advent calendars at £21.50, sell it on Facebook Marketplace, and of course another bonus for selling on Facebook Marketplace is that you don't have to pay any fees. So you sell it for £30, so you're making an £8.50 profit per sale. You don't have to do any shipping, any postage, anything like that, and you also don't actually have to feel like you're ripping anyone off because you're making £8.50 profit, but you're only selling it for the retail price. Now, this is absolutely fantastic, and I think this is possibly one of the best deals I've seen on advent calendars in recent years. Now, of course, you can do similar arbitrages with other seasonal sets. Now, the best example that I've had personally is 2 years ago. I bought 10 of the Creator Expert gingerbread houses I got these from John Lewis. They were around £60 or £65 each that I paid for them. I managed to pick up 10 for reselling, and I sold them on Amazon for anywhere between £120 and £130. I think the average profit on each one was about £27 in profit. Now, the best thing about this when I bought all of these is that I actually managed to sell them really quick. So obviously I bought these as part of a Black Friday deal, so I got them at the end of November, and they were sold way before Christmas. I think I'd sold them all about by the 15th of December. So as you can tell, I probably held them for 2.5 weeks tops. So it was a very short hold, and I made over £250 profit just from 10 sets, which was absolutely amazing. Now, as much as this was a fantastic win for me 2 years ago, you do need to be careful with seasonal sets and make sure you do your research, because as much as 2 years ago I had a great story, 1 year ago I have a not so great story. So last year I decided to buy a load of the Santa's sleighs direct from Lego, and of course I got a few gift with purchases here and there, but they were always full price, so I paid £40 each. And the reason why I've done this is because the year before that, so 2 years ago from today, they were selling on Amazon for crazy prices because Lego kept running out of stock. Now, of course, I thought the same thing was going to happen last year, so I stocked up on these Santa sleighs as soon as they came out into the Lego store. And I got quite a few. I maybe got 20 or 30 of these Santa sleighs in total. And around the start of December, I decided to send them into Amazon. Even though the price was still low, I was confident that Lego were going to run out of stock like they did the year before. But in case you can't already tell, history did not repeat itself. Now, I did actually still manage to sell all of them. I think I just had one that was sent back as a customer return. I made a couple of pounds profit on each one, so it wasn't the end of the world. But by the time you factor in the time and the money investment I made on these sets, the return on investment was really poor, and it was absolutely not worth doing. So as I mentioned earlier, just make sure you do all of your research properly around these seasonal sets, because sometimes you might not do too well. And if you're happy to have the risk, then maybe go ahead and go for it. But I know this year I haven't bought any of the seasonal sets because I don't think they're going to sell out like they didn't last year. So the next section that we're going to be moving on to is bulk lots of Lego. Now, I think this is a fantastic way to make some money, and it's also really good if you also want to boost your own Lego collection as well. And I actually think that this is the best way to be a Lego reseller. Rather than doing it to try and make as much money as you can, is actually you just try and sell enough Lego so you can afford to fund your Lego hobby. Now, the reason why I say this is because then it doesn't suck the fun out of the Lego hobby, because I've definitely found over the years that sometimes doing all of the Lego reselling can become a bit tedious, and it almost makes me lose a little bit of love for the brick. So with bulk lots, the best thing you want to do is probably again go back to Facebook Marketplace, but this time as a buyer and not a seller. Of course, you can go to other sites like eBay as well, but I always find the best deals are on local classifieds, because people who sell on eBay tend to have an idea of what their Lego is worth, and sometimes even a way too inflated idea of what their Lego is worth. And Facebook Marketplace or car boot sales or garage sales are probably where you're going to be finding the best deals on bulk lots. So what you're doing here is essentially looking for large tubs of Lego. Sometimes they might have instructions and minifigures, and sometimes it might just be loose bricks, and you want to see what the price is and then have a look at those sets that you think you can put together and see how much they sell for. Now, sometimes you do have to be careful with this, because I think some people do intentionally try to trick you. I know when I first bought my first ever bulk lot, the person that I bought it from had strategically placed a train track on top, took all their photos with it, and I thought there was going to be a train in this really big bin of Lego. Now, of course, I was excited. I went and picked it up after work, sorted through it, and I found that there was only one single piece of train track. There was nothing else even closely remoted to trains. So I believe the person who done this knew exactly what they were doing and just put that one piece train track at the top to entice a sucker like myself to pay a little bit too much for that bulk lot of Lego, because there were no sets in it, there was loads of fake Lego, and it was a really bad buy. Luckily, I'd only spent, I think, 25 or 30 pounds on it, so it wasn't too much of an investment, but I definitely learned a great lesson from my first ever bulk lot. Now, since then, I've had some real successes with bulk lots. And I've had things where sets have already been pre-built on the top of the bin, and I've only had to find a couple of pieces, put it together, and I could then sell the full set and recuperate my entire cost for the entire bin of Lego just from selling the one set that was practically already put together for me. Now, one of the best things about bulk lots is actually minifigures. So sometimes within these bulk lots, you can actually identify some really expensive minifigures, And the only way that you're really going to know about expensive minifigures, if you're someone that is really into Lego, you're either really passionate about it or maybe you're a reseller. So a lot of the people who are selling these sets have no idea of the value of the minifigures in the set. They might think that each minifigure is worth exactly the same, but anyone who knows anything about Lego reselling knows that minifigures can vary ridiculously in price. So this is why one of the best things to do if you're ever considering buying bulk lots is always asking for extra pictures from the person who's selling it, and usually the people are always really receptive for more pictures and they'll happily send you loads of extra photos, whatever you want, because they want to make that sale. Now of course the best bulk lots are always going to go quickly, so if your strategy to be a Lego reseller is to focus on bulk lots, then you need to make sure that you're on your local classifieds all the time and you're constantly checking to find the newest listings coming up, at least daily, because I've always found in the past that the best listings go really, really quickly. So you always need to make sure that you're there looking as soon as the new ones come up. You're then messaging that seller straight away, arranging to meet up, and then you have a quick look through it and then maybe make that purchase if it looks like you can make some decent money off of it. And of course, like I mentioned a minute ago, some of the best bulk lots actually contain sets that you might want to keep. So for example, you might have a bulk lot that has 10 different sets in. You might sell 5 of them to recuperate your cost on the whole lot, but then you keep 5 of the sets and you've technically just got 5 Lego sets for free. And this was my preferred way of doing bulk lot a few years ago when I used to do them quite often. I don't do it so much anymore because I don't have the time, but this was definitely one of my favourite ways to do it. Now finally, the last way to get into Lego reselling is really just simply through retail and online arbitrage. So basically what you're doing is you're going to stores, online or physical stores, and you're just looking for the best deals. Now usually the best deals are going to be clearance deals for a couple of reasons. The main one being that they're actually not available nationwide. So if you go to your local supermarket and there's a clearance on a certain Lego set there, it's not always going to be available at every other supermarket because they might have sold out. But if you go online to Amazon and you say take the £21.50 Lego Star Wars Advent calendars, that's available for everyone in the UK. They can get Advent calendars at the same price. So your competition's always going to be a lot higher. Now another thing with clearance is usually the prices are discounted by a bit more. And I know I've had some crazy deals on Lego clearance. So one of the best clearance deals I've ever seen is the Lego Disney Series 2 minifigures reduced down to 30p. Now this was 90% off back in the day when they used to sell for £3 a bag. And there was actually loads available in this store as well. A few years ago, just after Christmas, I managed to go to Waitrose and I picked up some Speed Champions cars like the ones behind me, and they had just retired. It was the last of the 6 wide cars, such as the Ferrari F40, and I managed to pick them up on a clearance. I can't remember how much I paid for them. I remember it was a really good deal and I managed to sell them for above retail price because they just retired, and I made a really good amount of money. And this is another reason why this time of year is absolutely a fantastic time to get into Lego reselling, is because a lot of sets are going to be going on clearance because they're going to be discontinued. And then not only can you get these sets at really discounted rate, but a lot of the time you can also then sell them for a much higher markup over retail price because they are now retired. Now of course this isn't going to happen with every set, so you need to make sure you do your research, but this can absolutely happen with an awful lot of different sets that are available for retail arbitrage. So if you're looking at getting into Lego reselling or investing, please consider subscribing and liking the video if you got anything from it, and let me know in the comments on how you make your money with Lego.